Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the UK League Championship. My name is Jake Perry Matthews, as I've subbed out for Orcs, but we're still joined by the man who is leaving us, Chronicler. What an incredible game we just had, dude. Like, Fnatic, they put their stomping boots on and they just stomped their way through that game.
Like I was saying to Orcs, it felt to me like they're just playing on a completely different level. And you see that in the way they rotate around the map. You see it in the way that they don't just execute a play, they set up for a play far in advance. They anticipate what their opponents are doing. And honestly, like, you shouldn't expect anything less from a team that made top 4 at EU Masters.
I mean, yeah, but you do have to keep in mind as well, they did have a fairly easier bracket to climb. First, they had Envision, then they had Demise, who were the two new teams to the UKLC. So, you know, teams that are still going to be sorting out a few teething issues and stuff like that. So we look at who's playing next, which is going to be Mnm versus Diabolus. And this is a team who I think will definitely challenge them more, because last week, you've got to remember, Fnatic didn't look as good as we remember them. XL completely destroyed them. There were a few moments of grace, but from Magic Felix, but from everyone else on the Fnatic roster, it fell apart in that tower challenge. So obviously they want to climb back up, but this game is going to be deciding who they play in the finals coming up after this game. And if they can beat them, then they get their shot at XL, who've had a week off, had some time to chill and relax, and maybe plan some more of those kind of 4D chess games.
And I'm really excited to see what that's going to be. But let's focus on the next game that we got coming up, because Diabolus have been looking not always the cleanest, but in the end, when it comes down to the clutch moment in which it's make or break, they somehow seem to clinch out a win way more often than expected of this roster. Because I know coming in, there weren't a lot of expectations. Now, Mnm, they were expected to do well, and I think thus far, besides Excel, they've also shown excellence.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of questions raised about Diabolus coming into this season. We saw the brand new roster, all 5 new players, new coach. Pretty much everything was completely changed. And we wondered, because, I mean, the former Diabolus roster was a really strong roster, and this one did not look anywhere near as strong. But actually, they are looking really impressive. A lot of these kind of expectations by Diabolus have been shattered, and they could very easily make top 4, top 3. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. And beating a team like Mnm, this is going to really kind of be a statement game for them if they can do that, because we have to look at, you know, our mid lane matchup, which is the one I'm excited about, Fury versus Chips here. Because I think these two are going to be the players who really decide which team looks better, which team's going to look stronger. Because, I mean, Mnm, you got Yusa on your team, man. He wants to get this win over his former team. He even said it yesterday. And for Diabolus, you know, they want to just get this win. They want to make it into the finals, and they want to get as many points as possible. Because remember, they got a lot last week as well. They made top 4 last week.
Definitely. And as you were saying, Chips, of course, rookie of the split last time, had a really good performance, even on something like the LeBlanc, where I felt like, as a LeBlanc, it's so easy to not find the early impacts and find someone in mid game, and then the late game, you can still find your targets, but it's so much harder because you don't have the 100-0 capability just as you might if you do snowball. And Chips played around it expertly, still finding the routes that he needed to, still finding the big backdoor in the end. And Fure, his Yasuo has simply been impeccable. That tornado that he hit in the end there with the game against Enclave, taking out Raisins, finding the double kill at a clutch moment where they were down an Elder Dragon and 2 people. That's the kind of moments that you live for as a Diabolus fan. I mean,
you do, and they make for the most exciting games for, like, anyone watching the broadcast, anyone in the broadcast. If you're on Diabolus, that is probably the most tense game you're ever going to play, as you just don't know what's going to happen next. No. And I think if they play like that versus a team like Mnm, that kind of outcome will not be the same. Like, Mnm will punish them in these silly mistakes, in these openings. So for Diabolus, they've got a lot to clean up coming into this game, but obviously if they play as well as they were towards the end of that game versus Enclave, then they can pull this win out.
I think, as you were saying, I think Mnm, what really impressed them for me is, as I was saying yesterday, they went for the Lee Sin LeBlanc composition, and they played so cautiously, and then the moment there was an opening, all that caution was thrown out the window, and they go so deep. And I think that decisiveness is something that we haven't really seen from Diabolus. Yes, we've seen them clinch out wins. We know that they have that clutch factor, but they do seem to be a little bit complacent at times. Plays don't really work out the way. Whereas Mnm, it feels like they have a really good sense of, we can get away with this, and if we can't, we're going to take it slow.
All right, well, just had a little update from the production room. We had a Champ Select DC, so we're just getting that restarted and getting sorted. So it'll be a little bit longer before we get into game, but that gives us time to kind of theory craft and look at what we're expecting from these teams, I do expect to see the Yasuo probably banned away because Fury has looked scary on that champion. I mean, a lot of our players have been... We've seen so much Yasuo in these first 2 weeks. Like, I'm loving it. I'm loving watching all this Yasuo. But I do expect to see Mnm ban it away because it looks like one of Fury's stronger champions. And we know Chips has a really wide roster of champs he's capable of playing in the mid lane. And as this is our lane to watch, I think this is the deciding lane. Taking Fury off something he's comfortable off and something he can snowball and carry the game off would be a big start for Mnm if they want to pull this win out.
I agree with you, and Fury, of course, I'm not really proud of him because he's from the Diabolus and he's been killing it so far. But I think if you look at Diabolus, you also got to look at PFI, who has had a really strong showing, being able to make the plays around the map and snowball the rest of his team into the victories against the weaker teams, while simultaneously not being a liability even on the early game junglers against teams where they do get into the late game.
Yeah, no, I think you got to look at, as well, as far as the jungles go, PFI has been looking really bloody consistent.
Yep.
Nolty, he has some really high highs and
Definitely.
some incredibly low lows. That's something that hasn't changed since last season as well. We look at the Xin Zhao, we look at the Elise performances and him just dying early and getting caught out. It's happened already in the UKLC this summer split. So I would like to see, you know, Nolty fix up some of these kind of weak spots, because I do think, as far as Mnm are, he is the weakness in the armor. You know, he's the part of the wall you can break down to kind of get in for the full siege onto the city. So let's have a little look at our rosters before we get going into Champ Select. So our first team is going to be the boys in red: Diabolus, Kakan in the top lane, PFI in the jungle, Fury mid, Dragdar and the Heathen as the bot lane duo.
And Kakan has done really well on these flanking top laners, and the rest of the team also quite the performance. We got the Mnm roster here. Only Angel in the top lane, Naughty in the jungle, Chips in mid, and Yusan, Shogun as AD carry and support. And we haven't really talked about Only Angel yet. That's actually quite an achievement, because he has been looking so dominating in every win that we've seen thus far from Mnm, because I don't think we're going to see his Aatrox anymore, because it was just too much.
It was really, really good.
Yeah.
I mean, Only Angel's a really exciting lane, actually. You know, he's a returning champion of the UK scene from years gone by, took a break, he's come back, looking like he hasn't been gone as well. Like, this guy does not look like he's taken a competitive break. He just walked straight back in, went, you know what, Aatrox, I'm just going to solo kill Sendo 2 times. He is a really scary point for Mnm, and that's why, like I was saying, I feel like, for the most part, Mnm are structurally a very sound team.
Definitely.
Top lane. Only Angel is, he's looking on fire. Chips, rookie of the split. He's got a massive champion pool. He's this mid laner who just came out of nowhere as well. Mnm found him, and he is arguably one of the top mids we've got in the UK. And then bot lane, they got rid of Monk and they've brought Yusa in. Yusa fixes a lot of what the Monk issue was, where Monk was, when he looked good, he was probably the best AD carry in the UK scene. But the problem is there was a massive divide in the consistency, and so he didn't always look good. Yusa, while his highs I don't think are as high as Monk's highs, is for the most part a lot more consistent. He's also a player who's willing to step back and play just that janitorial role as an AD carry, and not just be the flashy carry. Go! Mixing that with Shogun, who I think is probably the most improved support coming out from last season. From last year.
I don't want to see Shogun, if you're an enemy, like, on a champion with a hook.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter which one.
I mean, he's been playing Lux recently as well. I just, you know what? All I want to see is, I just want to see Yuumi with something non-AD carry. I love it. And Yusa promised us something spicy.
We spoke, if you missed that, we spoke to Yusa yesterday after his with the winner interview, and he was promising us something spicier than Garen and Yuumi. Now, me and Orcs had a whole bout about what could it possibly be, and I hope that we're going to see the answer to that in the next pick and ban.
Yeah, I mean, I'm itching to get into the picks and bans, because I think there's going to be some really exciting stuff going on. But guys, if you tuned in just now or a little bit later and you missed the beginning of the show, we actually have had a big announcement for our grand finals. Coming up on the 1st of September in Twickenham, we'll be having our finals for the UKLC, where you can see all your favorite teams and all of the goodies we got going on there. If you want to get your tickets, you head over to lvp.gg/tickets. You can get all your tickets for the event. I'll be there. Orcs will be there. He won't be, unfortunately, unless we can find a way to get him. I'm working on it. I promise you, I'm working on it. I want to get you here. I want, even if you don't get to cast it, I just want you in the crowd.
Yeah, just shout. Yeah.
Chronica's got like this sunshine personality. Everyone was bullying one of our observers in the back room, everyone. And then Chronicler comes in and he's just like, don't worry, man. You're doing a great job. Everyone loves you, dude.
You know, you need to give positive reinforcement. I think that's something, especially in the gaming community. We can be pretty mean. I don't know if you've ever noticed.
By the way, the bullying was friendly bullying. It wasn't.
No, of course. But like in the League of Legends community, we have, you know, sometimes there's a bit of toxicity, and I try to sometimes, just a little bit. I try to counteract that with a little bit of positive reinforcement.
Yeah, you know, you're the sun in the LVP office, and now he's gone. We're going to be in forever darkness and sadness.
That's a really rough way to go to depart.
Unfortunately, the issue with the Champ Select is still ongoing. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick 5-minute break. We apologize. I know we had a long break before this, but once we got that sorted, we'll be back. So in 5 minutes' time, we'll be back with Mnm versus Diabolus. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a second. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that extended delay on the show. We did have a few issues. They've now been ironed out and be ready to get into picks and bans as soon as possible between Diabolus and Mnm. Now, obviously, we set some of the kind of stuff up about this. This is a real point for Diabolus to prove their strength versus Mnm, as we see Akali and the Yasuo get banned away.
And of course, against Fury, I already mentioned it. Great performances thus far. Don't want to give that over. Also, the Sona taken away to make sure that Yusa actually is force playing the Carol. Though, I said before, we were promised some spice, but maybe they want to save it for later on. Maybe their favorite they can just tape on Diabolus like that. As,
I feel like this is the time, right? You just saw Fnatic beat their own record they set yesterday on Game Time. Like, if you're going to play something spicy, you're probably going to play it now.
No, because you do it against Fnatic because you see how good Fnatic is, and your call is...
guard.
Exactly. You're like, okay, well, you know, gonna go for it. As the Karma get picked up, and that is a pick that has been permabanned so far. And it is immediately getting picked up here, unsurprisingly, by...
Chibs. It's
Mnm.
Chibs. Chibs is playing that Aurelia. We saw him play it so much last season. I would be surprised, but then Only Angel also has shown his ability to be just a disgusting carry in that top lane. As you are right, 13 out of the 13 games, this pick has been banned. Mnm capitalized on that nice and quick, and they are just firing through this pick phase. They know exactly what they want.
And to me, Diabolus here sent a very clear signal. If you first pick a Karma, you 100% know that this Aurelia is going to get picked up. So I'm expecting maybe we are going to see support come. Maybe we're going to see a late Poppy come in. Maybe we're going to see Renaxon. They need to have a plan for this because you don't let Aurelia get through pick and ban without having a very clear draft. They could have just picked it up themselves. It was available on first pick. That would have been fine. I know Fury plays it. So that's definitely a possibility. But instead, leave it open. Pick up the Karma and the Ezreal. As well as the Elise, whereas Mnm Gaming, their power picks here are looking quite scary. Naughty's Olaf works out fairly well thus far, and we have seen Only Angel perform well no matter what, and the Lux is an incredibly strong pick right now, so I gotta say...
And I was saying, before the break as well, the Shogun Lux is just so strong.
Yeah, and, you know, get Yusa on the hyper carry, find something that can take a little bit of a beating, and I think Mnm is, like, very happy with the draft set, and seeing some decisions here, I would not mind the Kaiser. I think that is both a comfort pick for Yusa, and it's something.
It's not spicy though.
It's not. So
unless this is some new build Kaiser, because Kaiser seems to have a new build every week.
That's true. They're saving the spice.
Yeah, they're holding that spice. I was kind of liking the Ashe. I'm not gonna lie. He hovered the Ashe. I was like, ooh, that's kind of nice because obviously Olaf doesn't really have hard engage as such. He kind of just presses R and runs through the middle of the team. Obviously, you have the Vanguard's Edge that can kind of force everyone into you make a choke point in a way, but you don't have any hard engage for Mnm at the moment outside of like a binding landing. So I would actually not mind the Ashe, but I do understand that you want that more consistent DPS for the Kaiser is going to be offering, as we're seeing Fury actually locking in that Corki for the mid lane, and now they're looking towards what they want to put in either the support role or the top role, because remember, Karma technically can go top lane.
There we go. Okay, that I was thinking about something like that coming out. Traditionally, Poppy has been a pick that deals so well with the Aurelia, specifically because of the fact that your Status presence just does so well. Because Aurelia, if you take away her mobility, yes, she's still scary, but it's really her ability to just always relocate during a fight and keep getting on top of the enemy backline. And that's going to be made a lot harder. That does mean that Only Angel will probably get that cannon into Poppy mid or top lane. And that is not a rough match, or not a good matchup rather. It's a great matchup for the cannon because that's Poppy. Later in the game,
farm with Klepto. Just farm with that Klepto constantly.
It's not
easy.
just fun, like the harassment. Later on, you're going to be able to kind of, you know, shrug it off. But early on, is that Cannon does a lot of damage, and as Poppy against this composition, I also don't feel like you really want to itemize into a more magic resist heavy build with the rest of the threats there. So it kind of means that Kakan, we need to see how he's going to be able to manage that, because I feel his cannon play and his flanks have been very good. He has shown some inconsistencies, dying a couple of times in lane when a lot of pressure is put on him. And PFI needs to perform big, but if I look at these lanes, I think while Fury on the Corki is going to provide a lot of late game damage, playing around that pick into the 2v2 of an Aurelia and an Olaf, that's not going to go over well.
There's also a lot of global presence from Diabolus. They've got 3 TPs. There's 2 for Mnm as well, so they have the ability to kind of move around the map quite a lot. But like, can you imagine if you're just chilling and 3 teleports come down and there's suddenly 5 members on top of you? Mnm do need to keep an eye in mind. They need to make sure that they're managing all of these different teleport timers because those roams are scary, especially if it's Corki with a package, because it means he can move around the map without the teleport and then teleport back to the mid before he loses too much. I'm really excited, though. Chibs on Aurelia, you know, we hyped him up. He earned MVP of the split, and a lot of the times, and a lot of the games that kind of made him MVP of the split were these Aurelia games. He looked so unbelievably good on this champion. Back to it, looking very comfortable, and I'm curious though, because it isn't a Corki. He's typically a little bit safer than him, or safer into him because you can just Valkyrie away. But if that stun connects, oh boy, you know Chibs is going to go for it.
Yeah, especially if you can stack your passive as the Aurelia on the minion wave and then just dash in. And if I look at the composition here, I got to say, I think Diabolus, if they can get to a later stage in the game where you have so much kiting potential, where you have Kakan who can be such a good bulwark against an attempted engage from something like Yusak going in with the Killer Instinct or Chibs, that's going to go over very well. But in the mid game, Mnm should just reign supreme. You have, as soon as Chips comes online, as soon as Naughty comes online, these are the moments where you got to be so incredibly careful. So I feel like the really early levels, just because of how strong Elise is, we're looking at PFI, we're looking at Diabolus. They do have a lot of the tools then. At least with the Elise, they can try and make something work. But then, as we go into the early game and more towards the mid game, I feel like Diabolus, they just don't have a lot going on. Now, if they group up, yes, there's a lot that they can do. But I'm really scared that we're going to see Mnm do what we know Mnm can do, which is just find an early lead on the back of someone like Chips finding a 1v1, Naughty maybe getting off a great gank, and then just completely overrunning them in the mid game.
You might have to hold that fort, because look at that warding that was placed down by Only Angel on the blue buff. They expected this to happen. Chibs now rotating with the rest of his team. Looks like Mnm are setting up a death brush. The binding does connect already, and this might just be the end of the Heathen as he flashes away, but Chibs finds himself a stun. Mnm already get first blood. It's going to be onto Nulty. Kakan gets slowed down, and Chibs is chasing. The flash is used by Kakan, and Mnm across the map finds such an incredible start.
Oh boy. So, you know, I was talking about that early game from Diabolus. Well, that's gone. That is, no, like, I'm not even kidding. An absolute immaculate level 1 here. So Diabolus simultaneously are not aware of what is happening on the Mnm side, so they get invaded 3-2 on the top side. But in conjunction to that, because they didn't take any vision on the bot side, they take the safe route, trying to avoid a cheese. But Yusa and Shogun, they're more than aware of that, and they've already set up shop in the bot side brush. And yeah, this is a 2v3 that you're always never going to win, and then if Chips, it's a flawless duet on both Kakan and PFI. There's nothing, right?
I mean, the interesting thing about that is that the fact that Diabolus went for the safe invade to get vision, where they went as 5, and then moved around the map as a unit, which obviously means no one's going to die at level 1 unless you're playing into like an insanely good early comp, like a Blitzcrank or something, but they know they're not. They know Mnm really only have the binding at level 1 to set up for these plays. And already, with that, they were able to move in, get that invade off.
Big.
We do see PFI is actually able to equalize out on the score of the buffs. However, was only able to get one camp in that jungle where Nulty stole away the Gromp, so he does have himself a bit of an experience lead here over his opponent.
That's crucial, though, because I think if you don't pick up the blue buff as PFI, like, you're still behind, you still need to make something work as the Elise, or Naughty's probably just going to run all over you, as the Olaf has want to do. But this is at least a window back into the game. Chips, though, he has priority. He's not letting PFI have any of it. And he does find it, that's the kind of thing, right? You can't afford to give up that big chicken, because that's where the most of the XP is. And I love that Mnm are already putting so much pressure on, as we see bot side Scott are already getting taken. And this is what I was talking about. With this lineup, yes, Poppy has some nice early damage, but that's not applicable into a ranged matchup. So Only Angel's going to have priority. Chips obviously is really happy to be playing Aurelia again, because I didn't expect we're going to see the champion this season. Just making great use of the pressure that provides. And our PFI, yes, he's pathing towards this Koto Crab, but I don't think he can do a lot here. I think the 3v3 or the 1v1 at level 3 will still be advantageous for Naughty here, unless he can really catch him.
Oh, looks like players are breaking out across the map. Heathen going low. Look, Yusa able to find that kill. The fight over the crab in that bot lane or in that top side of the map also working wonders. PFI flashes away. The killer's been secured, and Chips now looking to turn onto Fury. Mnm are just coming up huge across the map globally here. A stun does connect into Fury. One more Q as he flashes in to secure the kill. Gets out with the tower shot, and Chips lives for just a little bit longer before the tower takes him down. Kakan doesn't find the wallbang onto Nolty. Nolty with the red buff and the sustain from his passive. Trying to heal him up. Nolty gets the 1v1. What the hell?
And that's the Olaf. The lower you get, the more afraid you need to be as the Berserker's race takes over and the Ragnarok seals the deal there. And this is what I was talking about. Even if you do find a Cocoon, you'll land your full combo. Olaf early game is such an incredible duelist. And while, yes, Elise is strong, I feel like he just underestimated the fact that Naughty, unless you 100-0 him, or if you have an early lead, which you didn't, you're just not going to win that. And Naughty takes you up on the challenge, and Kakan tries to equalize it, as they so desperately need to do. But now he's died. Naughty's incredibly fed, because, mind you, he hadn't even backed there yet. This was just of the raw strength of the Undertow and the Berserker's Rage that the Olaf has early on. And I gotta say, this is exactly what Mnm were looking for. As there we go. At that point, PFI is already spotted, and I think that's the point where you say, okay, just going to leave it be.
I don't think he was.
I think the X caught him. I think he was into vision there momentarily. And the smite there from Naughty is absolutely crucial, because otherwise, might have actually been a more disadvantageous fight. But what a performance there from the Olaf. And this is kind of your nightmare, because the thing with Olaf is that if he doesn't find a lead early on, yes, he's always going to be able to run at your carry and try to do a lot of damage. With Karma Azrael, you're going to feel relatively safe against that. But now, he's so strong, they can also just always look for these fights, knowing that he's going to win the all-in 10 out of 10 times. And then he becomes so much more threatening, because now all of a sudden, all objectives are built up. We see Kakan just crumbling under the pressure, 2 levels down thanks to that roam, losing a lot of XP, a lot of CS. And Mnm are just playing immaculately. The only one who's really been able to withstand the pressure with a small CS lead and a 1v1 or 1 against 1 kill trade is Fure, but he's not going to be relevant for a very long time. You're looking at least a try for some Sork shoes, preferably even more than that. And I think by that time, if Mnm continue playing at this pace, the game's going to be very far out of reach for Diabolus.
We've had some incredibly fast-paced games so far to start out this season of the Summer Split, and looks like Mnm looking to keep that up. You know, all that waiting around with all the issues they had before the game started just made them more eager, more itching to go for these early and aggressive plays. You can see PFI, they're going to steal away the chickens from Nolty. As you got to keep in mind, with these junglers, the chickens and the Krugs are the most experienced heavy camps to get. They're the ones that, you know, they do reward you the most to get, so it is worth picking these up. So having them stolen away can be quite impactful, especially for Nolty, who is currently 2 levels down on PFI, has a massive disadvantage as far as CS goes, and Shogun just finding these bindings, finding these opportunities to bully. He's okay just to chill for the moment, wants to get a little bit more of his build underway. I'm assuming this is going to be the tier of the Goddess, Kaiser?
Yeah, it's going to be Manamune, because he already has the pickaxe picked up. I gotta say, though, because that's something I've really talked about, because we've been focused on this jungle matchup so much and what happened in the top side. What was happening, just in the 2v2, Yusa and Shogun find a solo kill, meaning that Yusa is going to feel incredibly confident in this matchup. Now, when the Kaiser hits 6 and Shogun hits a 6 as well, that's when you're going to see a lot of burst come through.
Chips is going in, the Vanguard's edge onto Fury. He's already half health. The Ignite comes down, and Chips just slides in for the solo kill. Mnm's mid laner, rookie of the split from last season, 2-1 on his signature champ.
Also, we're looking to be building towards that wit's end first, so going for a lot more sustain. If you do get low, which, you know, Corki has a lot of poke, but... And this is kind of the issue here. We see Fure, yes, he has the teleport available, but it also means that Chips is always going to have the threat with the Ignite. Makes great use of it there. And as you were saying, a single stun is enough to basically seal the deal. And the package is now picked up. I don't think there's any playmaking possibility here. And we're not even 10 minutes in. There's already a 3k gold lead here. And Diabolus, they have a comp that if you give them some time, the Ezreal can get to 2 items. Fure can get to 2 items, and Kakan can be with the rest of his carries and provide a front line, you might be fine. But now with Naughty so bad, are you going to be able to actually shred through him with only Angel not really getting matched here in this top side, also building up a big advantage? I feel like Diabolus, they need to take a big risk, and a big plane towards bot lane might just be that.
Yeah, there is a pink ward that spotted Fury out as he clears it out, and now he'll be spotted on this one. Same for PFI. Yusa and Shogun now looking just to book it. The teleport's coming out. Yusa has still got flash. He dodges away, uses that killer instinct to dodge out as he flashes out of the fight, and Yusa makes the grand escape. Looks like for the moment they've managed to cancel Shogun's base. He's running away. The tether will connect, and Shogun has to heal. He's running low. The True Shot barrage goes wide. The cocoon does find its mark, and Dragdar able to pick up the kill. That was that big play you were talking about, and it worked out. I want to see what happened to the base there. What cancelled it?
Yeah, it might have been a minion because there is a ward in that in that brush. So the next minion wave, I think, just started hitting Shogun, and this is the kind of plays you need to make as Diabolus. And is it enough?
Fury?
Not yet.
Oh boy!
I mean, PFI.
Okay, 2 flashes. That's good for the jungle if you're PFI. Burning chips is flash, but still a very slippery Aurelia to deal with.
Yeah, we both look like, Mike, what are you doing? And then it was a good bait, I guess, because Chips did have to blow his flash. Now, as we were saying, Dragdar, we haven't really talked about him yet, mostly focusing on Fura and PFI. But Dragdar is also one of those carries that, if he can get into the late game on an even footing, which with the return kill now, fairly close to Yusa here, he has been known to kind of take over games the moment that he comes online. And with the Ezreals we were talking about, you're looking at 2 free items. And we keep coming back to that. Diabolus just need to cling on for dear life. Plays like that are kind of what keeps you going. But I don't think Mnm is going to say, well, okay, nice play bot lane. They're going to leave it at that. They're going to be looking for continuous pressure here. As PFI just barely doesn't get spotted there, but he's going to know that the Rift Herald is going. But with your setup currently, you can't do anything. Look at the people there. Only Angel has a teleport available. Simply know whether you can zast this. And that is going to be, when the Rift Herald inevitably comes through, a lot of plays here for Mnm.
I feel like a lot of the things I was talking about in our pre-game is actually really coming up here. You know, Nolty having high highs and low lows. He's on a high currently. He's had such a good start to the game. He's 3-1. He's got himself a massive advantage as far as experience in CS goes over PFI. This is the Nolty that when shows up he looks so just definitively good. And you know, I was also talking in the pre-game about how Diabolus are a team who, yeah, they've been looking better than expected, but you know, we'd only seen them into some of the arguably weaker teams in the scene. And you know, you're going up against one of the big three here, Mnm, a team who in the last split you were able to beat out, but in this split, when we're looking at power rankings, we're looking at expectations from the teams, Mnm are predicted to definitely be in that top 3. And versus Diabolus, they're looking very good right now.
That's a tasty dragon right there. That's the dragon you're looking for here. When you have such a big early game lead as Mnm, and I'm looking at Diabolus, are they going to give this up freely? It looks like they might, as Naughty is going to make his way over there, clear out that ward, and PFI maybe get some poke down, but you're going to have a really hard time. You have no priority on your bot side here with Yusa and Shogun. Inevitably going to push this lane through. Won't be picked up now, though. They don't really want to risk it. It's just taking some vision control here, but this is risky from Diabolus.
That's the Cocoon going wide. Fury has to jump over the wall, Chips. Not going to go too eager, not too aggressive here, but he does find a stun onto Fury. Believe he decides to step away, because PFI was also in the wings, but Mnm aren't playing for the kills at the moment. They are playing for this Infernal Drake, which they just have it pulled out. There is no way for Diabolus to get over unless that True Shot.
Whew. I was close.
Closer than expected.
Definitely was, and imagine if they picked up this Inferno, because that could already kind of pivot the game now. Instead, we're kind of
I feel like pivot would have been optimistic, but it would have at least slowed down what Mnm were looking to do.
It's the start of a pivot.
But look at the speed up Mnm. What they're trying to do is they are going to place down this Rift Herald. Forgot the name of the thingy there, whatever it is. There's only Angels also looking for the dive. Has got his flash. He's not going to go for it. The charge is just going to come down. The plates are going to be gifted over. And Mnm looking for this first turret with the assistance of old Shelly. To be able to pick that up in the mid lane. Yeah,
not a lot that they can be said about that. I feel like Furo really testing his limits there, going to do it so far forward, but he knows the backup of PFI. And yeah, Diabolus just, like I was saying, trying to cling on for dear life. Now, I've seen Diabolus be down already, and somehow they've managed multiple miracle clutch moments in which they somehow still win a game. Now, as you were saying, that were against teams that a lot of people would see as a little bit weaker. This is Mnm. And we've seen Mnm in kind of an even situation with a composition that doesn't necessarily skill that well, still be able to find the moments of weakness. So I'm looking at Diabolus here, and thus far, they're holding on. They're giving up objectives here and there. The gold lead is staying relatively stable if you compare it to, you know, how it started in the first. It's now around 5k, and if they can keep it at that for the next, say, 10 minutes, they're going to be fine. But you keep coming back to that, and that is the question. I didn't think Mnm are going to let them do that. Triforce now finished here on chips. He's hit a huge spike. We see Naughty now with the Cinderhulk building towards a lot of tanking, and just picked up the Carl a while ago. If only Angel also finishes his second item, he's going to be able to, with what look to going to be a Zhonya's, just get onto the enemy backline and go from there. That is a shame.
All of the vision, all of the enemy team just got revealed, and Mnm know how to fort this. Purify now also going to be spotted, so Mnm have full control of where everybody on the side of Diabolus is. They know not to go too overeager in this bot lane, so they just step back, pick up the wave. Diabolus do waste a bit of time. See, the package even got burnt to make sure Fury was able to go mid and catch up on some of the CS deficit. As the binding, forcing Dragdar to cancel his base, and he even also wants to make sure his AD is nice and safe, so he's going to cancel his.
And I'm looking at Fury picking up a rapid fire cannon here. Kakan being able to actually join the rest of his team once he's picked up a lot of tanky stats. Also, definitely need a little bit more on that Poppy. Because when you reach later stages, Poppy is going to be almost impossible to chew through, and that's really what you're going for here. As Mnm, though, you're going to keep spiking for the next 5 to 10 minutes, right? Like, Naughty is still so strong. And the thing with the Olaf is, yes, it's for Olaf that we always hear with the Olaf, like I was saying. If you're so far ahead, just the experience lead, the fact that you are so tanky with the Conqueror, you're still going to chew for everything. And
I actually would say, because of the fact that they're playing into a Elise, while obviously Olaf does fall off, the Olaf is infinitely more useful as this game goes on. You know, the fact that he can basically, he can not be CC'd, he's able just to quite confidently walk up as a tank and just run into that backline. Like you said, with the Conqueror, he has a bit of extra sustain built into him. His only Angel, he's going for a bit of a fight with Kakan. But all Elise is just a stun bot. And you're also saying that Poppy is a champion who, you know, is going to be hard to chew through, but you are playing into Kai'Sa. And typically with this build, it's kind of the AP Kai'Sa as well, who should actually not have an awful time into the Poppy, providing they're playing the kiting game right. Obviously, Poppy can deal with the killer instinct and deny Yusuf from getting onto the backline and any kind of access like that. But I don't feel like Mnm have a team that won't be able to deal with this Poppy. Obviously, the Karma will enable a very, very hard time to cut through it purely because of the shields, but then you're wasting the shields on a Poppy and not Fury or Dragdar, you know, one of your primary carries, who do, as this game goes on, will be able to actually do a lot of poke. I mean, you've seen Fury already with that empowered rocket onto Shogun. You start pairing that up with, you know, once the Sork boots are finished, once you've also got the Ezreal, who is looking to go into the Triforce build and not the Iceborne guild. So they are just going for a fairly chunk kind of built poke comp for the moment for Diabolus. More of like a kite build.
Yeah, I'm looking at Diabolus here, and I think that if you just buy enough time for Furai and Dragdar, that's really what you're looking for. As you were saying, you're never going to be able to really reliably deal with Naughty, so you just need to hope that you can live through his initial damage, not get flanked by only Angel, not get hit by chips. But that's the problem, right? Like, there's so many tools here available for Mnm, and they're just picking up yet another dragon. Looks like a cloud that they just get for free. They started to invade the jungle, and they're starting to just slowly, completely choke out Diabolus out of this game. As you were saying, the Elise, her use is going to be so incredibly limited here, and I reckon Kakan is going to go for something like the Adaptive Helm, just to be able to provide him with a little bit more of survivability against the repeated attacks of the Kai'Sa and of the cannon. But even then, Diabolus, they need to make a miracle work here. Like, they need to hold on, not give up too many objectives. If they can actually contest the Baron with that poke, if they play it really cleanly and they can sweep out the vision, avoid a flank from only Angel, there's actually a possibility, because one thing that you said before, Jake, still rings true. There is a lack of hard engage for Mnm here. Yes, they're incredibly far ahead. Yes, they're incredibly strong. But if Diabolus can somehow dodge the bindings and not get flanked by the cannon, I do feel like with the Karma, with the Elise, and with the combination of Corki as Naughty nicks yet another buff here.
Kakan
yeah.
maybe getting caught out. That's going to be an axe going a little bit wide. So Kakan not going to get slowed away. The steadfast presence movement speed buff enough to give him a way out from that potential engage, potential pick, shall I say. Naughty going to pick up this crab, and I mean, PFI is... this is a rough game for him, man. He's had a real rough time.
He has. And it all started early on, and that's the problem with Elise. If you do fall behind, you need to take risk to try and somehow get back into the game, and that didn't really pay off either. As Kakan is on his own there, as the rest of the team does have some vision, know that this is going on. And some damage comes through, but as we were saying, Grasp the denying Poppy, really hard to actually get to. I love the builder from Only Angel as well, because he's very clearly going for a teamfight build, going for Proto Belt into the Zhonya's, just making sure that he can get onto that enemy backline, you know, not going for a more split push oriented or 1v1 oriented build that we see sometimes where we go for the Gunblade. Instead, they're looking for team fights, and Mnm, they do need to keep the pressure up here, which does fully seem to be able to do expertly. Gottlieb now climbed up to like 7k all in all, which, you know, that's not great. That's Diabolus.
Not at 20 minutes, no. That's actually
it's
really
suboptimal.
Far from great. As Chibs looking for something onto Kakan, just goes in, gets wallbanged here, but the rest of the team coming in, the Vanguard's edge is on. Steadfast presence will send Chibs packing as Kakan running low, but able to get away. The teleport comes down, and Diabolus have spent all of their teleports but Kakan's to save the day. They don't lose anyone, so it's not overall a bad loss for them.
I guess you'll take it as Diabolus. Anything that you can do to just sap the tempo out of Mnm.
They didn't lose the tower.
Exactly.
They burnt Chibs' ult. And a lot of attention by Mnm. So actually,
kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, outside of the whole teleport thing, it's actually not the end of the world, but the flank is coming in. That's exactly what you were saying, Mnm. Now they're looking for blood. Now they're going for the action. The stun does connect, and Chips launches in. The Heathen's low, but Only Angel locks up the team. Yusa slides in with the killer instinct. 2 members down. Make it free. Yusa's found a double kill. He wants blood versus his old team as 3 members of Diabolus fall, and Mnm come up huge in the fight.
And Diabolus, they overstep the one thing that they can't afford to do in this position. They are kind of on the high after being able to deny a nice play from Mnm here, and they step so far forward. If you're at the underneath your turret at the beginning of that play, you might be fine. Beautiful teleport flank from Only Angel. The deep wall there in between 2 turrets make it so easy.
Oh, Chips.
To get it done.
He found something on the PFI, was able to use one of the spiderlings as a delivery tool. Jumps in with the Q. PFI jumps over the wall of the rappel, but Chips is hungry. He flashes forward, unable to find the kill. The Baron gets picked up by Yusa for Mnm. And Chips zones away PFI. No steal options available. It's just an overall victory for Mnm.
And this is the thing, they get greedy for the turret here, and as we were saying, up until this point, you're still doing kind of okay.
Oh!
Yeah, it's beautiful binding there. Because when Yusa joins in, it's still fine, but it's really Only Angel who completely cuts off any avenue of escape and makes sure that Yusa can get all the kills he needs, and we know that if you give him the resources, that man can hard carry a game. There's also further delays, Diabolus, and I feel like this might have been the straw that broke the camel's back. As now, with the Baron here, yet a 10k gold lead at 23 minutes, Mnm are looking borderline unstoppable.
Yeah, Mnm are looking really, really strong right now. You got that Mirror Mana finished up.
What else can you say? They are looking incredible right now. And, you know, I don't want to be premature, but you do got to say, either Diabolus find a miracle comeback here, and then they need to do the same thing as Fnatic, or Mnm and Fnatic, their early games are both looking absolutely impeccable, so we're going to have one hell of a final.
I think we're going to have one hell of a final.
Either way. Yeah, no, as I'm saying, because if Diabolus actually crawling back here, which don't count them out, because I know it's a long shot. But we've seen him do it time and time again, and I know you might not have faith. But I saw what Fure did. I saw how far behind they were against Enclave, and they won that one.
That might be the wallbang on. The shield comes down by Shogun. The Ragnarok is going to get used, and Chips looks to find that flawless duet. Sends nobody packing. The final spark by Shogun will come down to secure the damage, and Mnm are able to find the kill. Kakan tried to make the play happen. I'm sorry. I think you might have to take that point back. They can't kill the Olaf.
Didn't work out. The thing is, though, that as well, going through the wellbeing on Naughty is nice, but then the actual engage coming through there feel like it's a little bit of an overextension. You know that the Elo with Ragnarok is just going to get out of pretty much everything that you try to throw at them at this point in time. And you hit the 2-item spike on the Ezreal, you hit the, you're close to the one on the Corki, but it just isn't enough. You see how fast they chew through Khan. Not everyone was even there, and you know, only Angel, he was just off on his own, enjoying himself, split pushing in top side, and the pressure from Baron here is now almost insurmountable for Diabolus.
Chips! He goes for it, dodges away on that Cocoon. Kakan finds the wallbang. This might just be the end of Chips. The shutdown picked up by Kakan. Optimistic.
Okay, that was a little bit of an oopsie right there. That can happen, you know.
Yep.
The big thing is don't let that get to you. It's a minor mistake that should not matter in the grand scheme of the game. Nice capitalization from Diabolus there. Chips, you know, if you're in this position as the rally, I kind of get it. You have the mobility, you have the playmaking potential. He goes in, gets punished, and fortunately for Mnm, doesn't really matter too much. The Baron Booth was about to run out. Crucial here, though, is that even though they were able to pick up a lot of turrets and further extend their gold lead, the base, Jake, has not been broken.
Yeah?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah. I think Mnm...
You were talking...
Mnm are waiting for... They use their Baron well. They're able to pull themselves out some gold. They're able to crack all of these outer turrets now, so only basal turrets remain. And as the Baron buff will be dropping off for Mnm, they're looking to probably just look to control the map. I'd like to see Observers if they could just quickly start toggling the vision here, because there's actually some pretty solid vision around the jungle for Diabolus, as you can see. Although Mnm have been slowly pushing it away from the river. And then if we toggle the Mnm vision, you can only see there's a few wards placed here and there. So Mnm, now with a lot of control wards in their inventory, are going to be looking to move around the map, get this vision down around the Baron area, look for picks, and when the Baron comes up, look to play around that as their win condition.
And this is a 2,000 IQ play from Diabolus, because you don't need vision in the river if there's no objectives in the river. And Mnm has taken absolutely everything that they can.
That's a me point, not a you point.
I got to be honest, though. I got to credit Mnm. Being able to build a lead like this is absolutely insane, because, as you were saying, this is a lead that you expect for Envision against Fnatic, right? Where there's this big...
Well, Envision have this kind of will lead over Fnatic, is that what you're saying?
No, I mean, but what I'm saying is, I think that Mnm are looking incredibly dominating in the early game here, which I think is, at the moment, just a really great way to play this kind of proactive style of League of Legends. And I might be worried with some other teams that they're going to get impatient and then trying to break open the base. But I saw Mnm play yesterday against Barrage, against a really well-scaling composition, whereas their tools were a lot less... I mean, the best way to put it is they were a lot less easy to use, right? It was a lot harder for them to actually execute, but then they just played slow. And here they do that as well. They don't try to set up crazy dives. They don't try to go for any big plays. They just wait at the Baron, keep the vision low, don't overextend, pick up the next Baron, and then start sieging again. And I think if they're playing out that way, there is very little that Diabolus can do.
Well, Mnm looking for that Void Seeker, and just after I talk about the vision, Mnm move into this blue side and clear out pretty much every blue ward from Diabolus, as that's the last one to fall. And now they have full control of this side of the jungle. This is the side of the jungle you want to be controlling if you are looking to play around Baron. So Mnm definitely looking to step up for that. They have used a lot of their control wards to place this vision, so you might be looking at bases coming in through Mnm just to restock some of this vision, refresh some of those support ones, but Chips actually breaks away from the tether, able to run away.
Ambitious play there by the Heathen and Diabolus in general, as they're now 13k gold down as we approach 30 minutes. I think this Baron actually going to contest that is going to be an absolute nightmare. They have no vision. Walking into the jungle is a certain death sentence, and Diabolus, they're resigned to their fate. Gonna leave that be.
That was just perfect setup by them, but they're looking to contest. Only Angel goes golden, has that slicing maelstrom available. Gonna use it, the flash away, stuns up one. Trying to make his way out as he rubs his feet on the ground, gets the static, gets the movement speed. The redemption's coming down, not in time. Fury finds a shutdown. Meanwhile, Mnm are just pushing up in this mid lane. Yusa able to clear out this wave very, very quickly on this Kai'Sa. The turret already low from previous sieges. Chips on the top side of the map as well. That'll be the base cracked open for Mnm, and now they're onto the inhibitors. Inhibitor in the mid lane already very, very low. Chips needs to be careful as he steps away, and Mnm crack the base. They only lose Angel to get it. And overall, that's a big victory for Mnm.
Definitely Diabolus. They have to expend so much just to get a kill on the cannon there. Yes, that's nice. But the big thing about the cannon is that he goes down. That's unfortunate. But the big threat of the cannon is a big team fight. Now, if you can actually find a big team fight, as they're just going to let Naughty back, I guess. If you actually find a big team fight after killing the cannon, that's huge. But there's no winner opportunity here. Now, that push comes through from Mnm. They know that only Angel can buy so much time that the rest of them simply push on. One inhibitor down, that's huge, and the other one is ready for the taking. And I also feel like this opens up the base to a point where Mnm, they win a single team fight from here on out, and it's relatively clean. Game is over.
I mean, the game itself has been relatively clean by Mnm.
Definitely.
We take stock. They have a 14,000 gold lead at 29 minutes. They've taken 8 turrets to 0 versus Diabolus. Their AD carry Yusa, you know, versus his former team, 3-0-1. You have a 3-0-3 Nolty. I swear I can read the word 3 and not just say 0. Okay. It's been a rough one. But
that happens.
They're looking across the map, globally terrifying, and that was just a void seek onto Heben. Shibs throws out the ulti onto Heben. The stun's going to connect. That's going to be the final spot to secure the kill. Yusa is the one to pick it up. Shibs chasing for the kill. He's already low HP, but the Sterix is going to get used. The tower gets reset. The cocoon is big, but it's still not big enough. Yusa slides in, trying to get himself a kill onto Heben, but he can't do so. The redemption comes down to heal everybody up. And it looks like Mnm, with that one pick, have cracked every inhibitor but the top side, and they are looking for the base. Diabolus need to make a miracle happen if they want to hold. Fury is capable of doing some serious DPS, but that is a massive void tick at the back of the head. And Yusa flashes forward and takes him down. Mnm take the last turret as the Nexus will be laid bare. Mnm going for glory kills at this point. The Ragnarok was end of days for Vikings, and it's been the end of the days for the devil himself as Diabolus fall in 31 minutes to Mnm.
What a clean game from Mnm. I wanted to take a moment there to really appreciate it, because this is what I expected. You guys were really hyping up them coming into the split, a team that is kind of a UK all-star roster, only UK players, and what a dominating performance. It showed us a lot of things. It showed us that Naughty, he still has those high highs in him. As a whole, Mnm just seemed to be playing out the early to mid game with impeccable play. Little oopsie there from Chips doesn't even matter in the grand scheme of things. Every time that something that happens, there's no follow-up. Only Angel shows that he doesn't need a big carry. He'll just put him on the cannon and have him play a team fighter, and he will still do his job exceptionally. Now, Diabolus, I think after those first 10 minutes, you go back at that vault, look at those, and you're like, okay, those first 10 minutes were everything, because after that, Mnm just took the lead and completely ran with it.
It was a very, very solid start by Mnm. They were able to pull themselves out a really solid win there, but that does set us up for an incredible finals for week 2 of the UKLC, which is going to be Fnatic Rising versus Mnm. Winner of that will be going to the Tower Challenge to challenge XL, who currently sit at the top. You do not want to miss this final, so we'll be going to a quick break, and when we're back with Mnm versus Fnatic Rising. See you in a second.